Yeah, I'm well up for that. Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, just introduce yourself, Neil, and then just, let us know what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so I'm Neil Phillips. I'm a managing director for a company called Electrical Courses, so a training provider, private training provider. We deal with adults mainly only, anyone outside of the funding bracket, 24 years old. So we don't deal with apprenticeships. We do have an AM2 centre, so we do offer the endpoint assessments. But yeah, we specialise in training people who want to become an electrician from scratch, all the way right through the MVQ, AM2. We also offer courses for electricians as well, inspection testing, 18th edition, and the EV charging course.
And what's your background, Neil?
So I trained as a military electrician in the Royal Engineers around about 1998. So I went through what we call Class 2 and Class 1 military electrical installation. So Class 2 is basically level 2, and then Class 1 is level 3. So I started doing. So I started in the engineers. My purpose in the engineers was to be a soldier, but in the Royal Engineers we needed to have a trade as well. So I chose to be an electrician. 2006, I left the army, and I had these great qualifications the army gave me. So I took them, made use of them, but I needed to get some civilian experience first. So I went and got some experience. I actually offered myself to a contractor for a low pay compared to what qualifications I had. I had a gold card, JRB gold card.
So what qualifications did you have?
So I had Part 1, Part 2, 2369, which was the 2360, but military.
Yeah.
I had the C course as well, which 236 C course. Inspection and testing 2391, the old 2391. I think it was 16th or 17th edition then as well. And then loads of other City and Guilds qualifications, which are in the army.
Yeah, because I know that NET are doing a lot with the AM2 at the moment, and they're trying to open up a route for people leaving the army so that they don't have to go through the rigmarole of doing all the training again if they've already got training, So there's you've got there's the experienced worker route, obviously, that they've set up now to help people such as myself, where the qualifications fallen down somewhere in the line. Also, like some domestic installers in 5 years' time, once they got 5 years of experience, they can then go in for the AM2. And I get the feeling from what I've seen, they're also looking to start up something particular for people looking to retrain out of the army.
Yeah. I think it was ECS or JIB brought something out for military electricians just to transfer straight into as a civilian electrician. The issue electricians are finding now when they're leaving the army is the MVQ. I didn't have the MVQ. Part 1, Part 2, C course and inspection and testing, but I didn't have the MVQ. And the main reason is because when you qualify as an electrician in the army, you then get sent to your regiment, and you may not actually carry out the role as an electrician.
Right.
Or if you do, it may not be that often, so you don't have the opportunity to complete the MVQ.
Right.
But when I left, the gold card I was able to get without it, because I think it was called grandfather's rights back then. But I have friends who trained with me and have left recently who can't get the gold card because they don't have the MVQ and they've had to go and retrain.
Yeah, no, it is tough. I mean, I like the idea of what NET are trying to do. It makes sense to have one industry standard that everyone then works to. I completely understand that. But for everyone, again, before that, it's a real balls up, if I'm honest. Which is why they obviously brought out the AM2E. They're trying to tidy up the industry's mess, aren't they, really? If I'm completely honest with you. I mean, I don't know if you deliver the AM2E, obviously, at where you are. But
yeah,
from what I've been told, because again, I'm in the situation where I've got to possibly go through it, Neil. From what I've been told, all you need is 5 years experience. They don't even take into consideration any previous qualifications. So you could have just done a 3-week domestic installer course. That doesn't question, no questions asked there. All you need is the 2391, an 18th edition, and then you just do a skill scan of basically what's in the AM2 to make sure you can install that stuff. And then you build your portfolio. And then when you've got all that together, then you go in for the AM2.
Yeah. I think it's really good for the people who are genuine, but it is open to
Abuse?
I
don't mind saying.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've already heard of instances where you have to do an induction. You have to ask them questions, and you may have seen the skills scan.
Seen the document, yeah.
You have to do it. You have to interview the candidate, and it's very easy for somebody to lie through their teeth. Well,
I said to Net, are you checking all this documentation? And they said, no, it's as long as the college, the training provider, are happy that the person is ready, then they're ready. And I thought, well, that's an easy way of, sort of saying that's not my problem. And I think they should be involved in that. I think, they have to check every case possibly, but I think they should have some sort of QA, quality assurance scheme that goes on to ensure that does happen. Because, let's face it, you can pay someone £1,700 now to write your portfolio for you, and all you need to do is just send in a few photos, job done, and then you straight in. And you could have come from a 3-week domestic installer course where you may not know anything or very little, and then straight into that, and then straight into the AM2. And I think there just needs to be, I think the idea is great. I think there just needs to be a little bit more crossing the T's and dotting the I's, just to make sure that it doesn't get open to abuse, personally.
I agree to a point. But lots of the qualifications and courses that are offered in the industry are open to abuse. The NET, I don't think they're the ones that oversee it. I think they're part of a group. Like if you look at the skill scan, that's NET written all over it. And I'll be completely honest, NET are the best awarding body I've ever worked for. I've been involved in EAL, sitting guilds, but their organisation, their marking schemes are really good. Their standardisation is really good. I think
I like the process. I like the process. I like the way it's all set up. One thing I do feel that should be different is I think the AM2E, because they're not apprentices. Okay, the normal AM2 and the AM2S, that's for apprentices. So I'm happy that that's apprentice level. Personally, I feel that the AM2E, because you're saying I've been in the industry for 5 years and I'm at a level that's higher than apprentice, I think the AM2E should be at a different level. I think it should be slightly higher. And one of the things that I would like to see brought into that is, because obviously with apprentices, most of their works may be new installations, so they only do initial verification in that. I think as well, because they've got the 2391, the AM2E should incorporate some existing circuits that you have to test, verify safe before you can connect onto them, or something along those lines. I think there needs to be just a step up, because you're supposed to be fully qualified at that point, or have enough experience to be able to do that.
I'm not sure. I think prior to the AM2E, so it should be something extra done. Because what the issue I have with the experienced worker is the apprentices and the electrical improvers go through lots of theory assessments. They're tested, done with electrical principles to quite a decent level. But then if you've got somebody who's just been in the industry 5 years and just been house bashing, they then go and do an AM2E. Past that, they're now a qualified electrician, like somebody who's done 4 years, or somebody's done an electrical improver, and they'll put it. They may be put in front of. They may apply for jobs which involve motors, or using the electrical principles, cable calcs. Not many electricians will use cable calcs until they're part of a design.
Well, the guy that I was talking to yesterday, Matthew, I was talking to him, and obviously he doesn't know what he doesn't know, if I'm completely honest with you. And I mean, just little things. I mean, he's a lovely guy, and he obviously knows his limitations, and he's been really lucky that he's got a safety net of people that he can then call on to help him out. But you know, there was a couple of, for instance, today we're talking about resistance in series and parallel, and he's quite a way off on that.
Yeah.
And that's quite a big thing for what we do. You need to be able to understand that. And then I'm thinking, well, if he doesn't understand that quite so much, you know, what does he know? And I think that is something, like you're saying, that needs to be checked up. I think there needs to be something that then suggests that, you know, this is the level you need to be at to be classed as an electrician. 5 years experience is great for putting the work on the wall. But if you don't understand how electricity is generated, you don't understand electron flow, and you don't understand Ohm's law enough that you can then wire circuits and know what you're installing and why you're installing it and how everything links together and all the stars align, you know, to create a safe installation. Putting on the walls is the least of your problems. That's the easy bit, you know, and that for me is where it is falling down, unfortunately. I really do feel that is a problem.
Yeah. I do agree. Somehow.
So I think you delivered a 2365, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we specialise in.
Yeah, and one of the reasons again that you wanted to have a chat with me is obviously I've done a few of these posts now, and I've sort of, you asked me if I was pro apprenticeship, which I like the idea of the apprenticeship. I do. Whether I'm pro apprenticeship, I don't think I am, because again, the apprenticeship has flaws, massive flaws, and you yourself, you know, being an employer, you know that getting hold of good trainers these days is almost impossible. You know, it's very difficult. So you're only as good as the person that's taught you. But again, with the diploma route, which is, I think, what you deliver most, is it?
Yeah,
2365. You obviously, a lot of people found it difficult to get jobs, and you messaged me and said, well, actually, one of the routes that you suggest to people is getting, was it a JIB electrician's, I want to say mate, it's not mate, was it? It's an electrician.
Trainee.
Is it? Yeah, wasn't there another word you used? I'm trying to think.
So there's electrical improver, but the
improver, that's the word I was looking for, electrical improver.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a stigma around anything other than apprenticeships. And I've taught apprentices, I've taught adults evenings, weekends, I've taught full-timers, where I had 26 in a class and 16-year-olds. And now I teach adults 5 days a week. And we cover the guided learning hours, and it's to a standard that I oversee, which blow my own trumpet, is much higher than standards I've seen in previous colleges I've worked for. About students. The thing is, like 95% of the students that do the level 2, level 3 with us, I am confident to say they gain employment straight after the level 3, because they've got a great basic understanding of all the circuits, different types of cables and closures, inspection testing. Our tutors teach a 2391, so they're taught inspection testing almost to the same level to where they can grasp it. They're in a class full of like-minded people who are very motivated. Most of them pay for the course, and yeah, it's not cheap. It is expensive, but that motivates them hugely. And I think it's really successful compared to the one day.
Go on. So I was going to say, obviously, if you've taught younger guys and you've taught older guys, obviously you can see the difference. And one of the things that I really want to change in this industry, if there's a way that we can do it, is more support for career changers, people that are looking to change career. Because again, Aidan, who I had a conversation with a few days ago on here, he brought out a very valid point. You know, if you don't use your 4 years of training when you're 16, maybe that could be banked, and you could transfer that to when later life you realise, hang on a minute, I've gone down the wrong road here. Because at 16 we all do it. You know, I didn't know what to do when I was 16, and I asked my mate, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to be a mechanic." And I thought, "Oh yeah, I'll do that as well." So I went and did it what he said he was going to do, because I didn't have a clue. And so I did that for 3 years. You know, I dropped out very early on because all I was interested in was beers, girls, and women and cars, and all that kind of stuff. And it was just a job for money. That's all it was. It wasn't a career. That. Then a few dead end jobs after that. Then I had my defining moment and decided to be an electrician, and I've absolutely loved it ever since. But I didn't get to that point, so I was in my 20s, you know, 2021, and some people are later than that. You know, I'm talking to guys now; they're in their 30s, 40s, you know, and they think, I'd love to have done a trade when I was at school, but I was academic and I got pushed in that direction, you know. So I'd love to see that improvement happen. But I guess what I was touching on was the fact that you said that the older guys, you know, they're focused, they want it. And I'll be honest with you, I'll put my hands up and have a guess at this. I think they make better electricians because they're so hungry for it and they want to make this a career rather than somebody that's just doing it because A, they're told to, because they have to stay in education to the rating, B, to keep their parents off their back, and C, because they just need a bit of beer money for the weekend and they don't know how else to get it, you know. So do you feel the same?
Yeah, definitely. So once loads of our students have finished level 3, we keep in touch, and I've known some of the employees to take them on, and often the employer will say that this guy is now supervising our 3-year apprentice, and that often happens because he's got the mature skills, the life skills, but he's taken in what he's been taught so well, or he or she has taken in what has been taught so well, and they're able to deliver that on site where the apprentices, like you said, they're in a part of their life where they don't know what they're doing or whether they want to do it and don't have that motivation. I completely agree with what you're saying. The whole reason why I started my training centres because of our local college stopped training adults, completely stopped training adults. They focused on apprenticeships and that was it. And I tried to push for training for adults because the nearest training centre was 2 hours away, and they offered domestic installer courses. You know, and I pushed and pushed, and it didn't work. And that's when I started my business. Yeah.
But I mean, that's good. And obviously you found your market, you found your niche. And it sounds like, obviously, if you care about the level of training, I mean, I'm all up for that, Neil. So, you know, you sound good in my book. I mean, it's tough. Again, one of my pros for apprenticeships is because obviously we have them over 3 years. And I don't know if you've heard my pebble dashing analogy. Have you heard that? Okay. Have you ever pebble dashed a house, or you know what pebble dashing is?
Yeah, I know.
So basically, you throw loads of stones at the side of a house and hope that it's. Well, I feel teaching's a lot like that. We've got this bucket of information, and we're literally just throwing it at them. And some of it sticks, some of it goes in the wrong place and sticks, or most of it falls on the floor. And all you do over your time is you keep picking it up and throwing it back at them and getting a good even spread. Now, over 3 years, that is, I personally feel that's more achievable because, again, they're doing 1 day a week, 4 days on the job, where they should be supervised by a suitably qualified, knowledgeable person, which really isn't the case, as we probably know. But over that 3 years, you can fill in the gaps. Whereas a shorter course, you're literally just throwing it at them, hoping it sticks. And some of it does stick for a little bit sometimes. They get through the exam and then they forget, or loose ends get muddied a bit. You know, things
I don't agree with that. No. So from my experience of teaching people over a 3 or 4 year period, ask them what they did in week 1, week 2, go over. A lot of them forget even apprentices. You ask them about what they were taught in week 1, week 2, week 3. Adults who are not in the trade, who learn 1 day a week, evenings, ask them what they did in week 1 in year 1 when they've done a 3-year training course. With the adults that we teach, they reinforce everything they're learning, because on a 1 day course a week, I know you'll agree with this, because one of the first things you have to do in the morning is go over what you taught last week. It's refreshing what they've learned, and that happens every week. And you have to do that. If you don't do that, then they forget. With the way we offer it, everything's fresh. What they're doing, they use it day in, day out. The 16
I
weeks.
get what you're saying. It's a bit like when you turn up for a job and the job runs consecutively for 5 days, you're in the zone. So you remember what you did the night before, you come in the morning, it's the same all the way through. The job goes quicker. Whereas if those 5 days were spread out 1 day a week, by the time you got there, set up, reminded yourself where you were, scratched your head, looked at your diary, looked at your phone, had a cup of tea, you've lost the morning. And then by the time you get started, you end up staying late to get it done. So I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah. With the way we run it more compressed, we find it runs more smoother as well, because there'll be days where you teach students one thing, and the next day will depend on what you taught the day before. Now, if there's a week that, there's more chance of them forgetting what they taught or being a bit rusty. I love the way we teach it. But I've got the opportunity. I could have taken the opportunity of doing it once a week, evenings, weekends. And it's just, I don't feel it's as successful as the way we do it.
So for those, the benefit of those that might watch this video, I mean, how do you deliver it?
So we run it level 2, 8 weeks, 5 days a week. We have a short break, 2 or 3 weeks then. And then a level 3, 8 weeks, 5 days a week. And
that's the 2-3-6-5, isn't it?
2-3-6-5. So people think, how could you do it in such a short time? But if you look at a college, I think they're open about 33 days of the 33 weeks of the year. So you take on a 1 day a week, they learn for 33 days of a year. And sometimes a lot of the students are doing extracurricular, something not even included in electrical installation, especially the full-timers. We offer it and we deliver it almost the same. So we don't miss out any guiding hours. We don't cut any shortcuts. We teach purely electrical installations only. So from the moment they get into our classroom to the time they leave, that's all they do. And they then go on to look for a job with a level 3 qualification, which is well recognised, and skills that have just been taught last month.
And so there's the 2-3-6-5 obviously is level 2, and then there's this, because I keep hearing that the 2-3-6-5 level 3 is gone and it's now the 8-202. No.
Okay. So that tends to come from anybody who works in FE colleges. Right. So if you ever want to know when a qualification end date, that you go onto City and Guilds website, search box, you type in the qualification, it will tell you the end date. So that 8202 is purely FE colleges for the 16-year-olds. Yeah. Because it is part of QCF, I think it is, where it can be funded. The 2-3-6-5 isn't a funded qualification anymore. So
it's not funded anymore, and that's the problem, is it?
Yeah. So they are very similar, but I think the 8202 is built for 16 to 19-year-olds.
Yeah. Well, it says last certification will be the 31st of the 7th, 2026. So it will run out in 5 years' time.
Yeah. But that's been going on. So I think the 2-3-6-5 came out in about 2014. So they had a 5-year gap then. Yeah. And in 2019, roughly, they extended it again. Yeah. So even though it says 2026, it may get
extended again. Well, I've just looked. It says last registration date, 31st of July 2023 was when it was going to run out before, and then they've obviously extended that for another 3 years. I mean, okay. So here's one of my things about the 2-3-6-5 and also the 5-3-5-7, which is what we deliver.